The federal government will not shut down today. President Joe Biden signed a stopgap bill into law to avoid that shutdown just a few hours before midnight, the deadline. The bipartisan short-term spending measure will keep the government open through November 17th. It includes natural disaster aid, but does not give any additional funding for Ukraine or border security. Rob Kirkpatrick explains.
In a last-minute push to prevent a government shutdown, the House passed a short-term spending bill to fund the government.
The bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Meetings between lawmakers evolved rapidly Saturday morning, and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy emerged to announce the plan on a short-term spending bill to keep the government open.
Winston Churchill once said this about America: you can always count on Americans to do what's right after they exhausted every other option.
The spending bill passed the House with overwhelming support from Democrats.
This is what the people have sent us to do, so I'm glad we passed this on a bipartisan basis out of the House.
The American people have won. The extreme MAGA Republicans have lost.
But hardline conservatives have threatened to remove McCarthy as Speaker if he worked with Democrats.
McCarthy puts a CR on the floor. Are you going to bring up a motion to oust him?
Well, that'll be something I'll chat with my colleagues about.
But the House Speaker pushed back on those threats.
If somebody wants to remove because I want to be the adult in the room, go ahead and try. If I have to risk my job for standing up for the American public, I will do that.
A shutdown would have enormous impacts across the country. From air travel to clean drinking water, many government operations would come to a halt, while services deemed essential would continue. I'm Rob Kirkpatrick reporting.
With a shutdown avoided in the 11th hour, Congress has now pushed that deadline out until November 17th, when it will need to approve spending again. News 8's Hernan Gutierrez is here with some reaction from Senator Mike Braun. First, though, you spoke with an IU professor about what's next.
Yeah, so the biggest thing with last night's vote, federal workers will now get paid on time, and national parks will stay open. Funding for benefits like Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security wasn't in jeopardy directly. However, a shutdown would have furloughed support staff, potentially causing delays. Now, checks and health care coverage shouldn't be delayed. Likewise, food assistance programs like WIC and SNAP had funding through October and will continue to be funded. With the stopgap approved, Congress now has about a month and a half to figure out how to fund those programs and more in order to keep the government running. According to Indiana University political science professor Marjorie Hershey, the constant threat of a government shutdown will continue to happen with the current makeup in Congress. She argues it's caused by the increased polarization of American politics.
It's going to happen sooner or later. They may kick the can down the road for a few weeks or a few months, but eventually it's going to happen.
Yesterday, we spoke to Indiana Senator Mike Braun about the possibility of a shutdown. He says Congress needs a longer-term solution.
Don't spend more than what you take in. Make the hard decisions. Prioritize so no one's livelihood is threatened. I'm for real solutions, not Band-Aids.
The last government shutdown ran from December of 2018 through January of 2019, the longest in American history. After daybreak this morning, watch All Indiana Politics with our government reporter Garrett Burquest. He'll be joined by Representative Victoria Spartz for a live interview to break down last night in Congress. I'm Hernan Gutierrez for Wish TV, wishtv.com, and like us on Facebook.